church. So these are the qualifications before you even have that position. You got to have this in order. Read.
1 Timothy 3, verse 8. Likewise must the deacons be grave, not double-tongued, not given to much wine, not greedy of filth to lucre, holding the mystery of the faith in a pure conscience. And let these also first be proved, then let them use the office of a deacon, being found blameless. Even so, their wives be grave, not slanderers, sober, faithful in all things. Let the deacons be the husband of one wife, ruling their children and their own house well. For they that have used the office of a deacon well purchased to themselves a good degree and a great boldness in the faith which is in Christ Yeshua.
So the deacons, right? Okay, just hold on. We still on or we still?
We're back.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Or in this case, the officers. Okay, hold on, let me show you back on. Okay, this is what I see. Well, this is buffering, so maybe
Okay.
it's my
Now
end.
the people online are saying it's good.
It's good? Okay, outstanding. All right, so let's continue reading. All right, so, okay, so let's just recap, okay? So a deacon must be grave, meaning, give me the, Elder, you have the Strongs there. Let me get the, I have to make sure
I got you.
give the right interpretation of the word grave there. Honest, right?
So the word there is G 4586, which means venerable, that is honorable, grave, honest.
Right. So that's the first qualification that you gotta be before you be. And like I said, officer. These are choir members. These are choir directors. These are security ushers. You gotta be an honest person. Why? Because you're gonna be working with other people, right? So you got a bad reputation. I can't work with that brother. I can't work with that sister. There's always drama with her. There's always drama with him, right? You gotta be a person that's workable, right? Honest. Read. Okay, it says, holding to the mystery of the faith in a pure conscience. Why is this important? If you were in the administration of the church, but you still doubting the mystery of the faith, you questioning doctrine, and here you are, with these two brothers that are doing security, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm questioning doctrine. I say, hey, brother, so the lesson yesterday with the elders brought out, it was deep, but
Right.
I'm looking into something. Check out this book here.
Mm-hmm.
The elders don't know about this. Or, this pro-tribe chart,
Right.
I don't know if it's right. How do you know you're Judah?
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So it's very important for the officers to be, it says, holding the mystery of the faith in a pure conscience, meaning that you're down with the cause, you understand the mission, and you're not questioning. Now, for the record, if you disagree with a doctrine or there's something you're struggling with, you don't understand, you can still be in that position. Just come to me or Elder Lawya. We'll talk about it. We'll be men, mature men. We'll understand, brother, you will not discuss this with the other officers in these positions, but the other choir members, with the other security members, because they're going to start looking at you like a heretic. So let's you and I sit down. We'll go over it and things of that nature. But the doctrine that the elders teach has to stay intact. And if the Most High reveals something new through you, all praise to the Father. There's been times that the brothers who have come to me and say, Elder, I think we're wrong on this. I think we have to take a second look at this. And I look at it, and I'm like, oh, snap, I think you're right. And then we'll bring it out, and then the whole church benefit from it. But if you're going around among your members hey, brother, look at this. They come to my house later. I got to show you something.
Right.
I don't care if you're right. You're dealing with the spirit of heretic. I'd rather us be wrong on a doctrine and still preserve the brotherhood and sisterhood. Because if we preserve that, the doctrine is going to come. The Holy Spirit is going to work on us and correct. I know we don't have everything right. The Most High is working with us. We look into things and things of that nature. But if you do it right, it could be received in the right spirit. But if you do it wrong, it could get shut down before it even gets in the elder's ear, because by the time we get around to it, already we got like 6, 7 emails, 5 people already called us, and you may just be honestly or innocently just looking into things. You could be questioning things, and that's okay. But it has to be the first people that have to know about it is the elders. We're not gonna kick you out. We're not gonna chat. We're gonna just chop it up. We're gonna go into it. Let's see what you got, brother or sister, and then we'll let you know. But you have to also understand that the elders are the men that the Most High appointed to look into the scripture and eventually make a decision. There has to be a decision. So I don't want to go to, because that's dealing with the lesson we're going to be dealing in a few weeks and things of that nature. But the deacons or officers, which is the same position, got to be holding the mystery of the faith with a pure conscience, right? Not double tongue, right? So whatever you say, you got to do. Whatever you do, you say. You got to be a reliable brother, not giving too much wine, not greedy for filthy lucres. not giving too much wine. The husband of one wife, ruling his children and his household well. Okay. The position, or if a brother has a sister, there's a member of the church, you're responsible to also represent your husband in the right light. I'm going to give you an example. Let's just say your husband is a choir member. You're not, because that's not your calling. That's not what, but he's a choir member. And there's been meetings and discussions within the choir, who's going to sing this lead and who's going to sing the background support lead or what have you. And so for someone, and all this information, but you're blabbling your mouth about who's a good singer, who's not a good singer, and because you're privy to that information. Or you're married to a brother who's head of security, and he had to escort a brother who was, drunk last week or whatever, and you're talking to, and everybody knows about it on social media. So I also interview the sisters as well. There are brothers that I'm considering for position, because you're going to be privy to some information because you live with your husband. You understand? So you have to be sober. Okay, so the qualification, you must be grieved, not slanderous, okay, sober, faithful in all things. So these are also qualifications dealing with deacons' wives and elders' wives, because not only are you representation for the sisters, okay, but you also have to represent your husband well, that when you come into the room and say, okay, that's the example of a righteous sister right there. Mm-hmm. It can't be, I like the bishop, he's righteous. Mm-hmm. But his wife, Lord, we got to work on her. Mm-hmm. You understand? Or vice versa. You understand? It has to be a situation. There has to be a team. The elder, the bishop of the church, the wife also must represent that. Must be in that same, spirit, right? Okay.
If I can mention also,
absolutely.
That probably is one of the most powerful positions in the ministry, because as the wife of an official office of a bishop, an elder, a deacon, you have the power to either strengthen and bolster your husband who is in an office to perform that particular duty and fulfill that duty as he is called to that duty, that ministry, that mission, or you have the power to destroy to the point where he cannot operate in any position in the church, let alone an officer or a bishop or an elder or a deacon. Let's say, for example, the bishop or the leader's wife operates in a certain fashion. That automatically impedes that leader from bringing forth certain judgment. Now, you can't tell a sister she's out of order. You can't tell a sister she ain't dressed right because she saw your wife last week and she wasn't in order. She wasn't dressed right. So it eliminates the ability to be able to operate in the full power of the position that the Most High gave you as a leader. So in other words, when it comes to that particular position or any position, because when we're speaking of this, as was mentioned earlier, these are traits and qualities that we desire, that the whole church has, not just those in position, but especially those in position. It is a 1-2 punch. It is a 2-man or 1-man, 1-woman team. Let me get that right.
Right.
Okay, it's a team. It comes as a package deal. You can bolster each other up, or you can tear each other down. And if you tear each other down, the church crumbles with you. Okay?
Absolutely, because sometimes a lot of decision or some of the decision that I decide in the church, my wife gives me some suggestions. Hey, babe, I think we should do, I've been noticing this. I'm like, you know what, babe, that's a good idea. So, the wives, the Christian church, call it the first lady or what have you, or the elder's wife, is a very important position because you're the visor of the elder of that church. You're the one that is the closest to him. You got his ear in things of that nature. So if God forbid the wife is to have the spirit of Jezebel, and what's the spirit of Jezebel? Because Jezebel was a wife, I believe, of an elder of the church. I mean, of the nation, of the king. So she was in a position to speak to the king. The king loved her. The king cared for her. You understand? She knew that. According to scripture, she was a beautiful woman, very well kept, well respected. But her mind was somewhere else to destroy the nation of Israel. So sometimes you have situations that women want to rule behind the scene using their husband. But because they have, admirations or desire to be, in certain position, but they understand, okay, a woman cannot be in a position, right? So let me push my husband. Go read for that. I think you'd be a good, right? Hey, well, wear this shirt on. Look like an elder, right? Like, I'm doing the garbage here. What would you want that? And I'm saying, I got through those situations. Helen, I just want to call you. I think my husband's a beautiful man, dedicated. You can use him. All right, sister. Okay, he's a good guy, right? Right? I think, I know you chose that brother, but my husband, I think he should be running the church. He's a wonderful man. He's a wonderful husband. He ruled this house. Wow. Right? And I look at the brother's eyes like, brother, what's going on? Oh, you don't know. Pray for me, right? So I'm just saying these are things we have to look for and things of that nature. But just showing the importance of the position of the sisters. The scriptures called the deaconess. Okay, these are very important position. Sometimes there's certain things that a sister may not be comfortable talking to me about. Certain things, because I'm a man. I rely on my sisters, the sisters that are in charge of the church, Sister Shirley, Sister Patricia. They'll go to them before they come to me because they may be more comfortable. But the sisters that I put in charge, we're like this. There's no secrets, with them. I could trust them. They could trust me. They understand the mission. I know that they will never use those positions to harm the church. They will always protect the integrity of the church. So I half the time I'm telling sister, you deal with it, and you keep me what we should do. And they're telling me, yeah, elder, listen, I had to do this, I had to do that with this sister because she wasn't, I have to. Okay, just keep me posted because I'm dealing with other situations. But that bond that I had with that sister was proven throughout the years. So positions of the sisters are very important in the church. It's extremely important. Don't never think just because, a man can only be an elder and all that and deacon, that your role is not important. Half the time I'm asking women for advice. This is, what do you think about this? Because half the time, teaching lessons and all that, I'm doing that less and less these days. Is, what we're gonna have the feast, where we're gonna do this, decoration. Listen, if it wasn't for Sister Shirley, us guys, we just put a roll over and fly the mirror and call it a day. They decorate things, they put things together, they put the program together. You understand? It's my wife reminding me, "Elder baby, you got this meeting tomorrow, you got this and that." If it wasn't for that, I'll be lost. Where's my keys? What's my house? Where do I live? What's my address? What's my car?
Right.
You understand? Because is that function that women were created for, a helped mate. You never underestimate that.
Right.
Okay? Absolutely. Okay. All right. So we're gonna run down young men and men of age, right? So let's go to Titus 2, verse 1, and then we're gonna jump to verse 6 and 8. We're gonna run through these scriptures.
Titus chapter 2, verse 1. But speak thou the things which become sound doctrine. 2. That the aged men be sober, grave, temperate, sound in faith, in charity, and patient. Verse 6.
So the aged men should be father figures in the church. Men that the younger men will look towards to. Because you may have a deacon in the church that he's well qualified. I'm gonna give you an example. I have Officer Leonard, who is Sister Shirley's husband, the man who's in charge of being the father figure for the courting brothers and sisters. So he's in charge to make sure that the courting process runs well, because he plays that father figure. He's better at it than me in regards of that. You understand? So the aged men, there's certain things he been through that I haven't been through. So he's the one that's better qualified in regards to relationship and his counseling. The brothers, what to expect in a marriage. He's been married for a long time, longer than me. So he could counsel those young people coming better than I can, right? So this is the requirement of an aged man. Read.
Verse 6. Young men likewise exhort to be sober-minded.
So these are the qualifications of a young man. Be sober-minded. Read.
Verse 7. In all things showing thyself a pattern of good works. In doctrine showing uncorruptness, gravity, sincerity. Sound speech that cannot be condemned, that he that is of the contrary part may be ashamed, having no evil thing to say of you.
Right. So the young man, when you guys come in here, okay, I know you're young, but playtime is over. Something to do work. And when you're on the clock, okay, it's nothing wrong to play your video games. It's nothing wrong to have go out play some basketball, hanging out with your friends and things of that nature. But do that modestly and so forth, so on. But we're looking for soldiers. So when the young men are here and the young women and things of that nature, we expect for you to be on the clock. Dress right, act right, and things of that nature. Whatever it means, maybe the dance ministry, whatever it means, the choir ministry. Okay, we're going to be setting up also different organization in the church, like a basketball league for the young people, to but they can stay out of trouble and during the summertime, and also use that as a tool to bring people to souls and things. And all that is a factor that we're looking for. The young people should have these good qualifications. It should not be that your parents are calling us, elders, my son, my daughter, she ain't acting right. She's coming late, hanging out with her friends. We will visit you too. Okay? So the young man expected to act himself with good behavior, honor your father, honor your mother, respect your elders, be a good, respectful young man and a good, respectful young lady. Okay? Okay, so the aged man must be sober, grave, temperate, sound in faith, and be in good charity. Okay. The young man, okay, sober-minded. He must be sober-minded in all things, showing patient of a pattern of good works, meaning your reputation. You young now, so it's time for you to start building your reputation. You don't have a reputation, so you should not be known as someone who's always late, always ruly, always turning around, always joking around. There's nothing wrong to joke around with your friends and all that, but when you're on the clock, and especially when you're among older people, show your best foot forward. Understand that? Okay. Okay, now we're going to deal with the aged women and the sisters. So let's go to 1 Timothy 5, 3 and 19. When everybody's there, you say calm.
1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 3. Honor widows that are widows indeed.
Uh-huh.
But if a widow have children or nephews, let them learn first to show piety at home
Uh-huh.
and to requite their parents. For that is good and acceptable before hire.
Right. So if you are a widow or older woman, at that time, you should really have the qualifications and the patience to deal with children and younger people and things of that nature. You know, you should not be an older woman and you hanging out with the younger women. You know, want to hold on to your youth and, you know, show them, you know.
Right.
You should be a mother figure to the church. So when you walk into a room, okay, when I was coming up, if your grandmother walked up in the room, you immediately, bendición, right? Bless me, mom, right? You got to be that woman that would have the respect. Or when we were kids and you playing around, you're fighting, but you have sister so-and-so walk into the room. Hi, Sister Shirley. How you doing? She gone? Okay, we start playing, you know, being butt rats again, right? So the older woman should have that spirit that when you walk in the room, you demand respect for just the way you are, the way you conduct yourself. Right? Read.
She that is a widow indeed and desolate trusteth in a hire, and continueth in supplications and prayers night and day.
Uh-huh.
But she that liveth in pleasure is dead while she liveth.
Right. So it should not be a sister that, you know, you stir in nightclubs and your grandma and, you know, I'm a Kruger, you know. I need a young man, you know. I can't be dealing with these old man folks and all, you know. Still holding on to your youth. You know, that's past. That's over. You know, now you're a mother, now you're a grandmother, now your job's supposed to be teaching the younger women the mistakes that you did in the past and to learn from them. Yeah, stay away from those bad boys, honey. I know. Get a good man. I know. Get a man, God-fearing man. I know. Let me tell you what happened to me. Right? That should be your job and things of that nature. Not be like, your granddaughter is dating a bad boy, a no good boy. Oh, he's cute. Yeah, wow. What you did, you know, living your youth to your granddaughter. You know that. You gotta that's not good for you. That boy is not good for you. He's not coming to church. He's not a God-fearing man, right? So those are the things you should be exercising. Read.
Verse 7.
One thing.
Absolutely.
Yep. And elder women in those positions in this time are needed more than ever. Because in this world, there are no role models for the young women. When you look at the pop world and the entertainment world, this is what the youth look to for their examples.
Yeah, Beyonce.
Beyonce and all these other people running around and just showing themselves and dealing provocatively and giving negative messages to young men and young women on how to conduct themselves. So you have the power in this time to replace the so-called superstars of this world, to become the role models for these young women. And the elder men have the power to replace the superstars of this world. You got the power to replace the Jay-Z. Keep in mind, these guys, a lot of these guys that the youth look up to, they're the same age of many of the elder men here. They're about 50 years old, some of them 60 years old, still trying to keep up with teenagers. Foolishness. So you have the power in your age, in your wisdom, in your life experience to become the new superstars for the nation of Israel. Okay?
Amen. Amen. Yeah, because when I was growing up, right, all the young people used to go to church, they wore suits. Everybody wore suits because they were mimicking the older men.
Right.
Right? The working class men. But now you got older men, you know, walking around with t-shirts, fitted hats, you know, hoodie,
Change.
you know, change and all that, like the young people.
Right.
You know, I see guys in my neighborhood, they dress in the same way when they were in their 20s. And then in their 50s, like, brother, something, your khakis, you know, with a button shirt, you know, your grandfather.
Right.
Still live in that street.
Right.
Go gin alone, brother. You know, all right? So a lot of that. We have to set an example for the next generation. Okay? All praises.
Verse 7.
Uh-huh.
And these things give in charge, that they may be blameless. But if any provide not for his own, and especially for those of his own house,
Uh-huh.
he has denied the faith
Uh-huh.
and is worse than an infidel.
So now when you go into that, the backdrop of this scripture is dealing with the widow, the older women. So the older women, you have to make sure that your house is in order as well. Because the scripture says, he that does not provide his own home is worse than the infidel. Read.
Let not a widow be taken into the number under 80 years old, having been the wife of one man.
So the example, 80 means about going into 60, right? And most of the time, you may have a sister that I put in charge. I would never put in charge a sister who's under 50. You know, if you're 40 and you're 30 and you're 20 something, you may be a good, wise sister, but you're too young. We need a mother figure. So usually when we choose a woman to be in charge of the sisters and things of that nature, there has to be a woman that is getting close to 60. The husband, the wife of one husband that's been faithful to the church and, you know, and things of that nature, a sober sister. So therefore, she could play that mother role because it's harder for us to put a sister who's like 35, 37 and things of that nature, and women that are older than her. It's just a different situation. Sometimes within the deacons, you could have a deacon who's 35 and things of that nature. He could direct brothers that are older than him, and that's not a major situation. But I prefer to have sisters that are older, mother figures, to be, you know, because sometimes you gotta, okay, come on, sister, we gotta go, we gotta do this. You gotta, you know, get this thing together. And sometimes sisters, it's better to get direction for someone who is a mother figure than who's younger than her. So these are the qualifications for a widow, one who's of age, right? So let's keep reading. We in verse 10.
Verse 10. Well reported of for good works.
Uh-huh.
If she have brought up children.
Uh-huh.
If she have lodged strangers.
Uh-huh.
If she have washed the saints' feet.
Uh-huh.
If she have relieved the afflicted.
Uh-huh.
If she have diligently followed every good work.
Uh-huh.
But
now, so the qualification for an older sister, a mother figure in the church, she gotta be that mother figure in the household. It can't be that your grandmother, like, I don't bring my grandkids around. I never like kids. And I'm not I think you're always out and about and things of that nature. And then, your grandchildren, your children are calling you for advice. Like, well, I don't know, actually, somebody else. I'm not into all that, things of that nature. So those are things that you should be avoiding and things of that nature. You got to be that mother figure. You got to be that comforter to the next generation, right? So let's go to now the younger sisters. Read.
Verse 11. Verse 11,
excuse me.
But the younger widows refused.
Uh-huh.
For when they have begun to wax wanton against Christ, they were married.
So when you go into the etymology in regards of this verse, or the background, this verse is dealing with widows. So you have widows. We had a system that we had widows in the church that we used to take care of. And these women were actually, this is where the Roman Catholic Church got the whole concept of the nuns and all that, and things of that nature. We have areas that we had women that were of age, which the church used to take care of them. And these women were the ones that were the mother figures for the next generation. Now, widows usually have women that their husband has passed. But if you have a younger widow, meaning you in your 30s or 40, you're a younger woman and things, and you were not qualified to be part of the widowhood qualification in regard to the church. The church was saying, okay, for the younger woman, this is their qualifications. Read.
Having damnation because they have cast off their first faith. And withal, they learn to be idle, wandering about from house to house, and not only idle, talents, and busybodies, speaking things which they ought not.
So the older women, what the church used to do, we used to take care of these women and utilize these women to help young women in how to be good mothers, good wives, and things of that nature. But the younger widow, that Paul was establishing that we should not have these women because they're too young, and if we let them alone, these are things that could happen. So the younger widow, let's go down to verse 14.
I will therefore that the younger woman marry, bear children, guide the house, give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully. Okay, so if you're a woman that is 20-something, 30-something, or 40-something, and your husband has passed, the qualification or the advice that